Hello everybody out there and welcome back to another episode of the Dark Avenger comic book review, episode 492. Which means there's only 8 episodes left. Look at this. It's looking at you.
Yep.
There's only 8 episodes left until 500.
Yep.
You think of the weirdest pictures for this thing.
Well, you told me to get something so, good, serious, and silly. It's good, it's serious, and it's silly. Hey, I'm the one that looks for the numbers here, and then you do...
See, this is what happens when you have Michael working all the stuff behind the scenes.
They would hire me for that.
Who would hire you for that?
I don't know.
So, pre-review show time!
Yep.
We have a lot of books this week, so it's going to be a shorter review. I thought the first week of the month would be less. You know what I noticed before you say something? I will say this though, and I'm actually happy. But at the same time, I noticed a lot of newer books are being added to our list. That's why there are a couple number ones. There were a couple of miniseries. We're sticking with the Marvel event. A new DC event.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got a chance to look through previews. There's going to be a Lois Lane series, a Jimmy Olsen series.
Oh my god.
It's going to be crazy.
Is there going to be a Perry White one?
No, but I forgot there is something else that's coming and I don't remember. I'm thinking about doing a preview show, like I said. Keep an eye on Frontline. But there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think it's great. But then again, and as you will all see when we get into this review, some of it works. Some of it surprisingly is better than we expected. And then some of it kind of but I'll stick around for it kind of deal. And then some of the stuff just fell flat. I mean, the stuff that's ending is kind of falling flat. Certain miniseries are starting to fall flat event-wise. There's goods and bads. And then, of course, we have the independent stuff going on. Free Comic Book Day actually just happened this past Saturday.
On May the 4th.
On May the 4th, which was also Star Wars Day. But unfortunately, we couldn't get out. But I was actually very surprised. Midtown, on the Monday after Free Comic Book Day Saturday, at 11 o'clock, they put their Free Comic Book Day books up online. And I don't think I had to do it last year because we got our books from DCBS. I must have missed the email somewhere when they offered us our free year's books. Because the more you order from DCBS when Free Comic Book Day comes around, they allow you X amount to pick from. I never got that email, or I did, and I accidentally deleted it. So I never picked. So we never got any books, so I had to do Midtown again. It went right through. There was no site traffic. No books were flashing in stock, out of stock, in stock, out of stock. Everything that I wanted, everything that I aimed for was there. And I was actually very happy with it. I don't know if I'll do a Free Comic Book Day haul separate from our monthly haul on Frontline. I'm thinking about it just so that I'll do the haul for the Free Comic Book Day books and I got to find bags and boards for them because, of course, they don't come bagged them. Well, bags I need at least, not boards really. But I have to figure that out. But anyway, I'm thinking about doing a Free Comic Book Day haul video. I'll probably end up putting it on this channel, though, for the Free Comic Book Day books. We'll see. But we did get quite a few, actually. I'm just really happy. I'll spoil this. I was very nervous about getting the TMNT Free Comic Book Day book, and I got it. That was the goal of the whole adventure, was to get the TMNT Free Comic Book Day book because it's its own little story in the Free Comic Book Day book that then leads into the next Turtle issue. So technically it's like its own kind of smaller book. So I'll probably be reviewing it next week, more than likely. I'll have it in the review somewhere because it does kind of lead into Turtles. The going towards 100, and we're at City at War now. I just hope that when City at War is over, we don't close out the series. I really don't want to see Turtles end. I really feel like there's a lot of steam, a lot of momentum. I think they won't end it, though, because there's a lot of stuff they could still do.
Right.
So, that's about all I have. I've been a little bit slow on videos on the new channel because, the Cindy went on vacation, so I haven't been able to really record as much because I've been a bit busier. Like it's kind of like getting like double busy, so to speak. But I did have a couple of videos that I recorded. Now a lot of editing, I have to do a little bit of editing and stuff like that. But this review we were going to try to get out on time. Unfortunately, we had a lot of books for the first week of the month. But it's good because we're going to be missing Frontline live. This will be the last time we miss it for that reason as well. And I feel like at least this will be going up on Tuesday, the same day as Frontline Live. So you all are seeing our thoughts on our books the same day that we would have normally done it on Frontline. Hopefully next week we'll be back on schedule. It really just depends how many books. I mean, we're getting into a lot of them, and I'm happy, but at the same time, it's a lot to read. So that's about 5 minutes in. I think that's good. Do you have anything you would like to add?
There has been videos I've uploaded on my Durock 18 channel. I did get a shout out video actually from somebody, which was actually really awesome. And stick around for more ideas. I mean, there are some ideas I have in mind. And big things too, of course.
Okay. And right. Like I said, we're on the road to 500. We're getting closer. So I'm really excited.
All right.
So let's get into this week's book.
Yes. So what do you want me to tell you? How many or when? When?
And how many?
Okay. These books were released on May 1st, 2019, the first week of May. And your birth month.
Which means this is the second to last full month of books we'll be reviewing.
That's right.
May's books, June's books, and then 500 is the last week of June.
Yes, and we have a total of 23 books.
That's a lot of books.
A lot of books.
Now, real quick, I do want to... Actually, I'll wait. Never mind. I'll wait because the book's in here.
Well,
oh, that's the free comic book day book.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I got. Okay,
yeah,
Mike actually has his free comic book day book.
And they actually gave me a cover of this comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Free comic book day, I'm talking about Bloodshot, Fallen World. Yes.
We actually got this physically as well.
Yes, and we got this physically also. And what I really like about this book is that it has like, whatchamacallit, 5 stories in it. And one of them's related to Fallen World, which I know did come out, I believe, a week or two ago, but I really couldn't get a chance to reading it because I've had so many books. And I like how it talks about Bloodshot's origin story. First of all, the artwork's really amazing. I was really astounded by the artwork and the whole thing of his story about the nanites, along with so many other things that affect him in that sort of way. So that's really the whole gist of the book. Like, each of the origin story relates to his nanites, along with Fallen World, which is Rai, I think, with the whole New Japan thing. And that's really all that talks about for that one. And it does connect to the new Bloodshot comic series, which is going to be coming out, I believe, in September, they said, for that matter. So really, really great stuff right here. And then we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Urban Legend issue number 12.
Getting a bit weird for you.
I think it is getting a little bit weird now because, first of all, they're adding more dialogue and some nonsense stuff. Like, they're trying to get... First of all, when Donatello's doing his whole robotic thing, he's just saying, like, the whole... that, I'm not really Donatello. I'm actually this robotic person that's using your brother's body and all that. And some of the stuff is really just nonsense and just all this boring stuff. I have to be honest with you, some of it put me to sleep. Some of it. And then the whole thing of the Casey Jones and April comes in where they're trying to take care of Raphael, and he's going on his mission to find out more about what's going on with the Foot Clan and whatnot. And then you have these mafia like people that are going after the Turtles. I'm like, I don't know. I really... It's starting just to get to the point where it's just getting to just... It's not necessary. some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe it's just gonna go. To be honest, again, it goes into my TMNT collection of I'm not reading it. I'm just I'm getting
So
it.
I don't know.
I wish they'd reprint the. I mean, they are in trade. They're reprinting the TMNT Adventures. I really wish they would have. Well, they're in color, so what would be the point of reprinting them if they're not?
Well, however, we have Marvel Action Spider-Man. This is IDW Marvel, by the way, of Marvel Action Spider-Man issue number 3. So in this issue, not only does Miles know that Spider-Man's Peter Parker, now Gwen knows that it's Miles Morales and Peter Parker. And she's like saying, I kind of knew because of the whole pish-posh and everything that you're doing. And they're fighting off against the, what was it again? Like some type of, Doc Connors is in it and they find out about him being the Lizard. Things get a little bit out of control. And then they're just trying to find out more ways to, find a cure for him, so to say. And then they're telling about their origin stories and whatnot. And then we have Iron Man that actually comes in. And I think he has a little bit of some stuff up his sleeves for the 3 Spider-Men. Or the 3 spiders, I should say, because there's a girl, respectively, and they're 2 boys. So that's something I'm looking interested into seeing.
Paper Girls 28, I really enjoyed it. So I like how they split this book perfectly, where each girl in each different time period is in a panel. And I believe it's splash page panels that go on. And you got one who's working with her future self, and she believes she's reaching out to the girls, telling them to go back to where it all began in order to kind of end this war. You got Mac, who's at the end of time, but she gets access to the spaceship so she can leave. You got KJ, who's talking with the alien boy who died way back in the first arc. And it just, a lot happens, and it looks like it's all kind of like going smooth, and then towards the end of the book, of course, everything goes crazy. At some point, there's an interlock between all of them, and like time breaks or rips open for a moment, and it all leads back to where they were in the past. And that's kind of where now all this stuff is kind of culminating to. And apparently, the old timers are going to win this war. It looks like so far, in order to set history the way it was. I hope the girls find a way to fight against that. I really do.
All right, Red Sonja issue number 4. This one was a little bit more involved in a good way, I'm saying, not in a bad way before anything. And it's just them going up against the emperors, because the king of all emperors is trying to get rid of Red Sonja. And first of all, I like how they changed some of the art in some of the comic pages. And she's just basically fighting off against them and leading her group into fighting off against them, because I guess they're called the Shallows. I believe that they were fighting. And then they meet up with all these different people, and they're just trying to look for a victory, because that's what Red Sonja is all about, victory. And it's getting more of a build up to more of what Red Sonja is going to be getting into. So that was actually something in this issue. So yeah. And I'm just waiting for this because my tablet decides to this comic book. Wait till you hear about this. The Walking Dead, issue 191. Oh, what happened in this book? Let me tell you. So in the last issue, we saw the Commonwealth was going to attack Rick's group. So Rick stopped the whole thing, and he made his long speech of saying, we shouldn't fight, because we live with these scars every day, they're the enemies, not us. Basically, we're not the Walking Dead. Now, when did we hear Rick say that on The Walking Dead? Before, what happened to him?
Well, technically, Robert Kirkman always said The Walking Dead involves the living.
Right. But in this issue, what was his name? That jerky guy, I can't remember what his name was, because I really didn't like him. He actually is one of them that's like saying, this is, like we shouldn't listen to Rick because he's trying to just change all of us and everything. And I just want to get his name, Sebastian.
Oh, he's a dick. Yeah, I remember you talking about him.
So what happens later in the issue, and I gotta show you this. I want to show him this because I gotta see his reaction. And they spoiled this to us on the internet also. So, he sees Carl and everything. He goes to see Rick, and he points a gun at him. And you want to know what he does? That. He shoots him.
Yeah, well, we don't know if he's dead.
Robert Kirkman actually was saying that, a spoiler, that he might die because Carl is on the other issue with all the walkers on the floor the exact same way Rick was in the Walking Dead series. So he might die.
Oh, we'll see what happens.
I mean, in Walking Dead, he wasn't dead. He was
passing
a little bit alive.
Torch. Maybe it's passing
but
the torch.
Yeah, it could be that. But wow, that was a really shocking issue, definitely. And then we have Sonic the Hedgehog Annual 2019, which is all the Sonic stories that we all like to get. I just want to see what the story names were because then I'll remember. So yeah, there are 5 stories. Bonds of Friendship is basically where we see all friends getting together like Sonic and Tails, and that was a little bit of a good story. Jet Set Tornado was okay because Jet, little green bird, like I thought that was a good story for him. The only one that was a little was Sonic Fan Club, because you get like all these animals that are like saying, oh, Sonic's this and that, and we could do like what Sonic does, and that was kind of a little bit weird, that story. And the other 2 were okay as well. So if you like Sonic, this is a book for you if you want to read about it and see for yourself what you think of it.
All right, we're going into the big 2, starting with Marvel, of course. Marvel Teamups, issue number 2, Spider-Man and Miss Marvel. They keep switching back and forth. They get back into their old bodies, they get stressed out, and then they switch again. And Pete has to get used to Carmella's powers. Carmella has to get used to Pete's powers. And it's funny.
So wait,
how
they switch?
Whenever it's something that happened with the experiment with the machine in the first issue. The good news is they switch back and they're able to spend the night back in their own bodies. But then they see each other again. They get stressed out, and back into each other's body they go. Yeah, Pete doesn't know how to use her powers at all, and Pete ends up going to an interview. Carmella as Pete goes into work. Pete as Carmella goes into school. And then there's, of course, drama that happens, and they have to deal with it. I like how the end of the day they're kind of like sharing in each other's kind of like, I understand what you're like, I understand what you're like. It was cool, and I like how they are slowly learning each other's powers.
Good.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of enjoyment. And then you see that the Jackal is planning something in the background. So obviously before they fix all of this, we're going to be getting a fight with the Jackal, and then maybe this will fix. I know Teamups is not always going to be Spider-Man, so this might be just for this first arc, and then we're moving into the next team-up. I'm enjoying it. I like the artwork. It's a really fun spin story, I will say that.
The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 20, HU, which I put...
Vulture.
And Vulture. So this Hunted is the focal point of Vulture. And in this issue, Arcane. Arcade, you sure? Alright, well, Arcade has a talk with the Vulture. Saying like, I see you doing all this and that. So I was thinking, why don't we just work together and then... I mean, that there's always something up his sleeve. Of course, Vulture's like saying, oh, well, all the power that I have and everything. Because he likes how that monkey that died, I forgot what his name was, that he just left him there. And then he just went for himself. And that's what Arcade likes about Vulture. But then he talks to Kraven saying that the Vulture is going to go right into our trap. Where he's probably going to have his team in danger. And then there's going to be a whole commotion of what happens there. But I really actually like how Arcade is just trying to wield them in. And how the Vulture is wielding them into a trap. So that's going to be really something, including the issues that is going to come after that.
Uncanny X-Men issue number 17. At this point, I don't understand what the whole point is to Uncanny when it's basically going to be undone when this new event with the X-Men happens anyway. But Wolvesbane is dead. And we find out that she got she was in a park, she got hit on, they found out she was a mutant, and they beat her to death. And Wolverine, instead of going to the wake, goes and finds the people that killed her, and then all hell breaks loose because he gets attacked as well. And I guess the people get caught in the crossfire. I don't know if he ended up killing the people that killed Wolvesbane, but he comes back, and the fight between Cyclops and Wolverine happen. And again, it looks like it's kind of like the way it was with Schism.
No.
It's like he tells Wolverine, "We don't need you. You've never been a team player." And he says to Cyclops, "You know, the last time you did this, people chose sides. It wasn't good." And then I like how Juggernaut comes in and separates them, and he says, "You know, you have that list, but how come Emma Frost isn't on that list?" And everyone goes, "Who's Emma Frost?" Now remember, Juggernaut has the helmet, so it prevents his mind from being red. It prevents his mind from being tampered with. That was always to prevent Xavier from messing with him.
And Cyclops was one that said, "Who the hell's Ember Frost?" And he's
like, so it's funny that out of everyone, it's Juggernaut.
Is this the past Cyclops before he met Emma Frost?
No. He met her, but she mind wiped everybody to forget who she was.
Oh, right.
So this is going to be interesting since Juggernaut's the only one who doesn't have like that shielding to protect him. You know, that protected him from having his mind wiped. It's funny how he mentioned it. Now the X-Men are like,
right,
"Oh shit, we got a problem."
Oh boy.
I liked it.
All right, we have the Punisher issue number 11. Finally, the last part to War of Bagdalia. I think that's how you say it. Bagdalia? Yeah, Bagdalia, yeah. And it's just really the Punisher who is trying to sell the fight with Zumo once and for all, going against the Hydra people, which I actually liked that part. And then Zemo's trying to get away, and Punisher does his high tactics by trying to go on a helicopter. And now it looks like War on the Streets are going to happen in good old New York.
He's back home.
Yep, Zemo is going to New York, but so is he. So that's going to be really interesting. So it's going to be a new story, and hopefully, I mean, War of Bagdalia was good, but let's see how War of the Streets turn out when that comes out.
Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider issue number 8. This is what I wanted to talk about. I actually went back and read, I believe I dropped Spider-Gwen at issue 1. I really wasn't liking the crossover with Spider-Verse. I missed issue 2 and everybody wasn't too much of a fan of it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to let it go then. I went back and the arc, honestly, it got better. And then the arc that followed Spider-Geddon was even better. So what I did was I ended up paperbacking, getting the first 4 issues in trade, and then from issue 5 to 8 I ended up getting the single issues physically up because I really liked where Spider-Gwen was going. I'm going to fast forward through all those issues. I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything that's gone on in the book up to this point. But Spider-Geddon ended really great. She's back home. She went out on a date. She's back with the Mary Janes who are on a comeback. So in this issue, that's an abbreviated version. Go read the other issues. Really good. This issue, she's back. They're practicing. She's still getting headaches from what they think is the suit. So they go to Oscorp and they go to see Elsa Brock, who is the one that invented or either she invented the suit or she found it. Either way, they get there. She doesn't exist in the databank. She's gone. So they go looking her up. They can't find her. But then, of course, you've got the practice with the Mary Janes. And then she goes off and she does Spider-Gwen for a bit. You could see that the suit is starting to mess with her head again because you see Gwenum for one small panel. And you see that J. Jonah Jameson Werewolf is starting to build things up behind the scenes. The Jackal ends up finding one of these spiders because apparently Gwen drops these little spiders that follow her around every once in a while. So the Jackal ends up getting one, and now they're going to examine it to find a means to attack Spider-Gwen. And now she's with the Mary Janes, and she hears her spider sense goes off. And during the concert, she finds out that there are bombs above the rafters. And she goes to try to stop one, and she turns out there's a bunch there, and there's just no way to end how the issue ends, and that's all I'm going to say. So I really like this issue. I'm enjoying the series now. I think the Mary Jane's going to eventually kick Gwen out. I really do. I feel like at this point it's just skip this one because we have to do the side ones first. I don't know how that ended up first. Just switch to the next one.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that. You must have made a mistake somewhere.
No, that's how it was on the...
Okay, so there was a mistake somewhere, so just hold that on the side for now. But I really enjoyed Spider-Gwen. I definitely say if you didn't give it a shot, go back, check out issue 5 on, and definitely see if you change your mind about Spider-Gwen. The artwork and the story really good.
Savage Avengers issue number 1.
I'm curious to see what you think about this number 1.
I actually did not think that this was a bad issue. Like, I actually liked the whole thing where they're basically fighting in this war where it's just the mutants versus because they're in the Savage Land, because you have Conan that's in there as well. So it's like a combination of...
So it's not Mutants X-Men, it's Mutants.
Right. And then you get Conan, who was speaking with Crom, and then you have how he meets up with Wolverine. And I like how they had the two worlds, different worlds that met with each other. So that's why, like, the whole confrontation between Conan and Wolverine, of course, they work together to go against the Necromorphers. Or how is it called? Yeah, Necromorphers, yeah. And then there's just like a whole thing where it's just Conan and Wolverine. And also Conan's trying to find Chrome also, because he's the main person that he's looking for. And then you get their backstory a little bit. And then I really like the artwork that's shown the story. And then when you have the Punisher, who is over the grave of someone, that right there... Like, I could actually see it in my mind, actually seeing it be like a live action. You know, if I were to say this would be a Netflix series, I think it would do great. After reading this, I really think it would. So definitely something to check out.
All right, War of Realms, a War of the Realms, issue number 3. I really, I like this issue. I thought the art was great. The Avengers gather. Some go to fight Malekith. The others go to find Thor. And I like how Daredevil kind of is in Asgard, and he wields, I forget whose sword it is, but he wields the sword, and I like his role. And again, they encourage you to read all the side stuff, because that's going on in Daredevil. You know, the little mini War of the Realms Daredevil mini. But Wolverine, Spider-Man, Captain America, one of the Valkyries, I forget her name, and Luke Cage go off to find Thor. I love Spider-Man, the way he's dressed. He looks like a freaking Valkyrie. It's hilarious. So you got one group fighting Malekith, and they're not doing too well. And you got the other group fighting to find Thor. And by the end of the book, I'm going to synopsize, there's a lot of action in this book. A lot. And I liked it. And I like that Venom disappears, possibly. We don't know where Venom went. But I like how when they find Thor, he's in rage mode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's in, not rage mode, berserker mode. And I love how Wolverine tells Spider-Man, I know what he's going through. I've been there before. You got to back up a little bit. He's in berserker mode because he's like lost it. He's been beaten to literally almost a pulp by the ice giants. And his mind is like, I am going, just keep sending more. I'm going to kick their ass. And so they got to now talk down, bring him back. Kind of bring him out of that berserker mode, and I loved it. This series has promise. This series actually has promise.
It does,
and I'm interested. Okay, Sandman Universe. We're going into DC. We're going to start with DC Vertigo. Sandman Universe, The Dreaming, issue number 9. We're back to the good artwork, or the artwork we're used to. Art, is in the eye of the beholder. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But we're back in The Dreaming. We are now dealing with the new person who's taken over the Dreaming. She's the new one that's taken over. You have another woman who is chasing after abnormalities in dreams, I believe it is.
What are you reading?
This book had a lot of dialogue. You have to read it for yourself if you want to understand.
No, the whole, like...
I'm enjoying it. And I think that's Sandman. I don't know who that character is. I believe that's Sandman, and he's under the hospitality of this woman who basically says, you could have whatever you want. The only price is you sleep. I get to sleep in your bed tonight, or you sleep in my bed tonight. I'm like, okay. Man,
and I wasn't looking at the dialogue. I was looking at like these characters.
It's the Dreamverse. And it's very psychedelic, but I'm enjoying it. And the ending leaves off with a really nice cliffhanger as well. There's a lot of dialogue in this, though. This first issue has a lot of dialogue, and that's what Justice League suffered, still kind of suffers from. So, it was a hefty issue, but I'm glad the artwork's back. I'm glad the story is kind of getting back on track. I felt like that last 3 issues was kind of like, it felt like kind of disjoint, like a diss track, and now we're back into it. So I'm happy with that. Wasn't happy with the artist that took over in the middle, but like I said, we're back on track. So now we gotta just catch back up. And Lucius is alive. At least we know that much. Young Justice issue number 5. We're now in Wonder Comics. This issue focuses on Tim, and we get to see spoilers in this issue, and he goes to Zatanna because he's questioning, why do I have these memories about somebody named Connor? And Zatanna uses her magic, goes into his mind, and it unlocks an image of Young Justice pre-New 52. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna fix the camera. It's a little lopsided. I don't know why that happened, but
so
anyway,
this happened.
So he remembers Young Justice, and he delves even further. And while all this is happening, of course, we've got the stuff that's going on in Gem World where Opal has kryptonite, which is hurting Connor, and they're trying to fight Opal. But anyway, he goes in and he learns even more about Young Justice and that his team is somewhere out there, and that's why that kind of leads into the first issue in a way. But apparently Zatanna gives Tim back all of his memories. Now he has to find his friends again, more along the lines of Connor and Bart, because everybody else has been there. And I like how Spoiler tells him, I have my own thing I got to do, and he's like, promise me it'll only be 2 days, and she's like, I can't do that, but I do. I liked it. I thought it was great character development from Tim. I liked that Spoiler was in it, even though Stephanie's probably not going to be a main role in Young Justice. Again, I don't see a point with the 3 characters Bendis threw in there, especially the one he created for this book, Teen Lantern. Doesn't belong. She really does not feel like she belongs here. I would take Ginny Hex because it's Jonah Hex's descendant. I'll take that. I'll even take Amethyst. I mean, Amethyst might leave after this arc, so I would keep Ginny Hex for sure. But Teen Lantern has just no purpose. I feel she has no purpose for this book. Even if it's we'll get to that. Go to the other book now. We'll do that. It's just that one character is very disjointed. If you're going to have her in the book, I hope Bendis fixes it to a point where we get a backstory and a reason why she belongs in Young Justice. I need a reason to feel like she belongs as part of the team, and I don't feel that right now for Teen Lantern. I don't feel that for Ginny Hex either, honestly. I don't feel that for Amethyst. This whole arc is about Gem World, so it explains Amethyst a bit. We need more for Ginny Hex. We need more for Teen Lantern. These are new characters that haven't truly been introduced fully to us. They're just there, and we need more. Super Sons issue number 10. I don't know. The Avengers of the Super Sons issue, it just feels like this arc is slowly just losing steam. It really is. I mean, it starts up again where it's the old man reading to the grandchildren, and the old men are Damian and John, obviously. And I like how it breaks and it kind of connects a little bit to Volume 1. But long story short, Damian, the Green Lantern boy, and John go up against the Injustice gang. Huge fight, a lot of really great action, a lot of good back and forth. And then it turns out that the older versions of John and Damian end up showing up, and also Jonah Hex, the robot, ends up being killed. And the person who shows up is the guy that brought them all to jail the first time around. And now he's like, what the hell's going on? And who killed my robot? To be continued.
Wow.
I don't know. I feel like this series is losing steam. Maybe it's just me. I just feel like this arc was a bit too long. I mean, I know that this was supposed to be a 12-issue maxi while Bendis deals with Superman, and unfortunately it had to take place in the past, and yada yada. And by the time the last issue comes out, which I believe is actually in the preview book that we got, It's supposed to be rounding out what's going on right now in the Superman books. But now we got Leviathan, we'll have Year of the Villains, and then we'll see if in 2020, if Bendis is staying with Superman, what's next. If he's not, what's going to happen next with Superman. Truly and honestly, after Leviathan, after everything, hopefully we will see a little bit of a shakeup in the writing, even if it's just a new writing team for one of the books. I would like a little diversity in our writers for Superman, and I am happy we're getting Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen. Don't get me wrong, I'm really excited, and we have two really great writers that are going to be on both books. It's not Bendis, it's two really great writers, and I'm looking forward to both series. I just want a little bit more diversity in Superman now. Speaking of a really awesome crossover, I don't know why I didn't know if I should have put this with DC, should have put this before we started DC, but I guess because Super Sons was out of order, I'll do that first. But this is a crossover between DC and IDW, and it's Batman TMNT 3. And of course, because this is going on in DC Comics, this is the comic versus Batman and TMNT. However, the book opens up in a very weird state. It opens up in a universe where TMNT and Batman are fused together. Basically, the Turtles and Batman are brothers, and Splinter is their butler slash father. I would say more father. And Raphael's Red Hood, Michelangelo's Robin, Leonardo is Nightwing, and Donatello is Red Robin. At least that's their getup. Obviously, they use their turtle names, but their getup, their outfits, are all the different types of sidekicks Batman has had. And the Joker has crossed over with Shredder. Harley Quinn is kind of like a mix between her and Karai. And Bebop and Rocksteady are amalgamations of Bane and Killer Croc. And they're fighting, and we don't know how this happened, but Batman has this dream about this boy with dark hair, and I'm thinking that's Damian. And he also has a moment where the Joker shows up in front of him, as you know, like for a moment, Shredder Joker changes into Joker and then changes back, and Batman's questioning what the hell is going on. We don't know how this happened, but apparently the two worlds have crossed over and melded together. And then at the end of the book, after Batman talks about his feelings and the ending in the Batcave, and it was crazy, the 86 Raphael from TMNT from the old comic book shows up and says things are about to get really screwed up around here. So we have an original Turtle. I think this is going to involve some type of a universe crazy stuff. But seeing the original OG Raphael show up and say things are about to get real screwy because there's a lot wrong here, that was awesome. So we've got, I don't know what's happening, but it's crazy and I love it.
Alright, Deathstroke issue number 43. The Terminus Agenda of Part 4. And the only reason why I'm reading this is because it connects to Teen Titans.
Well, it's the last part.
It is the last part, yes. So the villains, or the prisoners, got out of prison, and they're going off against Robin. And you have Deathstroke and Robin have a little bit of a fight where Robin kind of loses his eye, Damian, during the whole fight and everything. I don't know if this is news to you or whatever, but yeah. And then meanwhile, you have the Teen Titans who are trying to find out more information about the Deathstroke and dealing with other things. And it's just really Robin who is confronting with Deathstroke and how they had a fight and how it goes back into flashback. And he winds up basically shooting Deathstroke.
Whoa.
What are your thoughts of Damian using a gun?
I don't know.
With the
Need more info.
Yeah, so it's gonna be continuing in Teen Titans, but wow.
Batman 70, after a long, strenuous nightmare arc, Batman breaks free in this issue and fights his way out of Arkham through all of his arch rivals and leaves one, Two-Face, conscious. And he basically tells Two-Face, long story short, I'm tired. I'm going home. Tell your master tell Bane I will be back tomorrow with my army, and we're going to take him out. And that's how the book ends. That's the long and short of it. I honestly was one issue away from dropping it. Now, I will admit that 10-issue filler arc, it really made Batman hard for me. At this point, let's see where this arc goes. It connects, starting next issue, with the villain, the Year of the Villain. We're going to talk about that soon. And we'll see where it goes. We'll see where this arc goes. And this arc is kind of going to be the determining factor whether I'm going to stick with Batman till 100, see Tom King's arc through, or I'm going to drop Batman. I will say Detective Comics I was on the fence with. Now I'm very into... I don't even know if I want to get the single issues yet. I don't want to be... Like, I get the single issues and then the Arkham Knight arc kind of falls flat. I want a little bit more before I make the determining factor that I want the Arkham Knight arc. And I might also get the Arkham Knight arc as a trade instead. So I'm not sure if I'm going to trade it or single issue it or maybe just keep it digital. I have to see. Need more. Justice League. I was right. Issue number 23. Batman voted different from the rest of the Justice League. So the Justice League's fighting, they get arrested, they break out, and then they have to fight their way through their supervillains. But Batman, who chose different, is with the World Forger. And Superman finally just builds up all the rest of the juice he had inside of him, saying, I'm going to get back to my family again. He shoots off into into space, up and away. But because Batman has chosen the side of the World Forger, which I know he's probably going to...
What the...
No, I know he's probably doing this just to hear the World Forger side. But anyway, the only way to bring peace to the future is to basically take Superman's powers away. And he turns off all of the stars that are yellow. And Superman is in space when Batman does this, so he kind of like is lost. And he's like, there's a lot I wish I could tell you, Clark. There's just no time left. So I don't know. I don't know what Batman's doing, but I know Superman obviously isn't going to die there. But this is already connected to the Year of the Villains. This is more of a prelude, this Justice League, to the Year of the Villains. We'll talk about that, like I said. But very interesting. I don't know where Snyder's going. We'll have to wait and see. Now, new event. 6-issue event, so it's going to be a half a year. DCeased. Issue number 1. DC's answer to Marvel's Zombies, but not. I did not like this first issue. It was not delivered well to me because the arc starts off with the Justice League fighting off against, guess who again? Darkseid. But Darkseid took Cyborg because Cyborg has the anti-life equation. And in accessing a certain part of the anti-life equation, he accesses it through Cyborg's AI, and it emits something now. Now that they've accessed it, and it turns Darkseid into a raving, bloodthirsty savage, a zombie, if you will, and he goes completely feral on Desaad and on Apocalypse. But somehow Vic ends up getting back to Earth. But in getting back to Earth, he's still emitting the anti-life equation, and all the electronics around him flash, and it turns everybody into what? Zombies. Or the anti-life equation turns them dark or savage or whatever.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So Superman runs off to save his family from seeing this because it's broadcast worldwide, so he protects his family. But superheroes are affected. 90% of the populace is affected, and now the world has fallen to darkness.
Am I the only one that's cringing at this?
Yeah, I didn't like it. And Batman gets attacked by Nightwing, who is already a zombie. We're going to call them zombies because that's exactly what this is at this point.
No, it doesn't work with DC.
There was very little... I have to agree with Mike Spider-Slayer. There was very little character development. It's like literally, we beat you, Darkseid. Cyborg's missing. Cyborg is being tortured by Darkseid. The anti-life equation finds its way into the mix for the umpteenth time. And apparently now the anti-life equation and Cyborg turn people into zombies. Or feral beings. Or technologically
They're zombies.
They're zombies. I mean, there's no way around it. I'm trying to think of a better word. There's no way around it. The anti-life equation turns people into zombies. They don't even have to be bit. They see this thing that's transmitted across electronics, they become zombies. Boom. It just happens. And it makes no sense.
It doesn't. I even looked through it. It doesn't make any sense.
I didn't like this first arc. This first issue. I'll try issue 2 and 3. Well, DCBS, we order in advance. Right. After that, I think I'll know by issue 2 if this is going to a digital pile immediately. Because I'm not feeling DCeased at all. For a first issue, this is supposed to sell the series. I didn't feel it as strong. I mean, it has potential, and it is Tom Taylor. I'm going to see if by issue 2 it reaches... Because this was a setup. You know, sometimes setups aren't that great, but then the rest of the story is great. So I'm going to see if the next issue, which obviously will take place after the events of issue 1... I don't know how long after, but after it, we'll see if things pick up. Mm. If they don't, then I'm not. I mean, it's off to a rough start. I don't know where DCeased is going, and again, it's an Elseworld tale, so it doesn't affect the main universe. So it's up to you. Year of the Villain, issue 1, one shot. The one shot. This is DC's free comic book day book, but it costs 25 cents. I think one, you can get it for free. There's a free version, and then there's a 25 cents version.
So it's not free if it's 25 cents.
There's a 25 cents version with your comic shop stamp on it, which is what I have. I have the Midtown one. No, the Midtown one is a free one. The one that's virgin cover without a stamp from a comic outlet was 25 cents. But it's a full-fledged book. And it sets up what's happening. Lex Luthor has gone full villain, meaning he went to the president. He laid out the groundwork. He's found now to be an enemy of the state. He goes to LexCorp. He basically fires everyone. He takes his assets and money and gives it to all the supervillains to finally, and I quote, be able to end their superheroes. And then he dies. He basically fakes his own death, I think, because we see him again with the being from the Justice League comic, which is the woman who's on the cover, who's Perpetua. I can't remember her name, but it starts with a P. But anyway, she's cultivating him. Now, all the supervillains have assets and monies from Lex Luthor to basically defeat their superheroes. And now the year of the villain begins, and in the back of the book, which Mike turned it off already, but in the back of the book, they lay out all the different arcs. Leviathan's in Superman, Batman is the Bane arc. Basically, every book is going to have its moment, and while each story is its own, you don't have to read everything. Each story has its own continuity, its own. It's its own story, but it's part of a grander story, but you don't have to read everything. So, like, for example, if I'm reading Leviathan Superman, but I'm not reading Batman, the fact that I missed the Bane arc doesn't matter. I feel like the camera is messing up a little bit towards the end, but basically each story stands on its own. You see that? Yeah. Each story stands on its own, but at the same time it doesn't. I'm not liking how the camera's doing it. So we're going to end it there. I really liked the setup. We'll see what DC is going to do for the next year. With that, that's it for this review, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's your turn now. In the comments below, let us know what you think about the books that came out this week. Likes, dislikes, agree, disagree. Feel free to talk your thoughts on... Yeah, I feel like when I go fast, it cuts off. Feel free to share your thoughts on DC's DCeased, Year of the Villains, everything. And we will catch you all. I apologize if the video is a little messed up. We will catch you all next week on the next episode of the Dark Avenger comic book review. Keep reading and keep collecting, everyone.
Hey, everybody.